Welcome to Sneaky Stories, home of short stories you can sneak into your day. Get ready to go on an adventure with some of the Sneaky Universe characters. Today we have a story from the Sofie Rose Marin series. I'm your storyteller, Pauline, and I can't wait to share today's story with you. Let the adventure begin. Remember, there aren't any pictures, so you'll need to imagine them. You can imagine the pictures any way you like.
Sofie Rose Marin and the Cupcake Competition. Today is going to be a great day, thought Sofie Rose Marin as she stretched her arms and yawned. She reached over to her bedside table and felt around for her glasses. Popping them on, Sofie and her cat Missy leapt out of bed. She checked the calendar hanging on the wall by the window. Yes, today was definitely going to be a great day. Her friend Benny was visiting and they were going to make cupcakes. Sofie put on her favourite purple t-shirt and blue shorts and ran to the kitchen. Missy followed. "Good morning, Sofie," said her mum and dad together. "Good morning, Mum. Good morning, Dad." Missy found her bowl and gobbled up all the food immediately. She walked over to Sofie and rubbed gently against her legs. She wanted to taste Sofie's breakfast. Sofie cut off a tiny piece of her bacon and tried to sneak it down to Missy. Her mum frowned. Missy purred in appreciation. "What's on for today, Sofie?" asked her dad. "Benny is visiting and we're going to bake some cupcakes with Mum, and then we're going to decorate them. We're going to have a competition to see who makes the best decorated cupcakes," Sofie replied. "That sounds delicious," said her dad. "Yes, and we're going to need some judges. Would you like to judge, Dad?" "I would be honoured," he replied. "You should finish your breakfast, Sofie. Benny will be here soon," said Sofie's mum, as she started to tidy the kitchen. "Then we can start getting things ready to bake the cakes." "Okay, Mum. I'm ready to help. What should I do?" "Why don't you get a large mixing bowl from the cupboard, under the bench, the measuring cups and the spoons, the wooden spoon and the plastic scraper from the second cutlery drawer, and the cupcake pan from the large drawer near the oven," answered Sofie's mum, putting the last dish on the dish rack to dry. "Sure," Sofie replied. Knock, knock, knock. Missy turned her ear towards the door. "Meow." "I think there's someone at the door," said Dad. "I'll go check." "It's probably Benny," said Sofie, putting the measuring cups down on the bench. "Hi, Benny," Sofie exclaimed when she saw Benny coming into the kitchen. He was carrying a small bag. "Hi, Sofie. Hello, Mrs. Marin. Hello, Missy," said Benny, giving Missy a pat between her ears. "Thanks for inviting me to visit and to bake cupcakes. They're my favourite food." "You're welcome, Benny," replied Sofie's mum. "What's in the bag, Benny?" asked Sofie. "My mum gave me some different bottles of food colouring for the icing to give to your mum, and my secret cake decorating ingredients," he replied. "Great," exclaimed Sofie. "It's going to be lots of fun decorating the best cupcakes with lots of colours." "How do you know yours will be the best cupcakes?" asked Benny. All right, that's enough, you two. I'm sure you'll both make beautifully decorated cupcakes," said Sofie's mother. "Don't worry, Mum. It's just a little friendly competition." "That's right, Mrs. Marin. Just a little fun," agreed Benny. "We'll play nice." "Glad to hear it. Why don't you put your secret weapon on the table over there, and we'll get started on the cupcakes. First, go and wash your hands. Then, Sofie, will you please get the flour and sugar from the pantry? Benny, the eggs, the butter and milk from the fridge. I'll turn on the oven so it can be just the right temperature when the cakes are ready to go in." "Aprons on," exclaimed Mrs. Marin, handing Sofie a pretty red and white polka dot apron and Benny a navy and white striped apron to put on. "It may be easier if you tie the back of each other's apron." "Let's see," said Mrs. Marin, opening up her recipe book to the right page. "What else do we need?" "Sofie, please pull out the small bowls and the measuring jug from the cupboard. Benny, will you find the flour sifter in the drawer, and I'll grab the paper cases." "I think we're ready. Benny, could you please measure 2 cups of flour, pour them into the sifter, and sift them into the large bowl?" "It may be best to do 1 cup at a time," instructed Mrs. Marin. "Sofie, can you break the eggs into a small bowl and beat them with a fork?" "Why did you already put the oven on, Mum?" asked Sofie. "The cupcakes cook best when they go into the oven and it's already the right temperature," she replied. Okay. Are the eggs beaten enough? Asked Sofie, showing bowl to her mother. Yes, that is perfect. Could you now put this butter in the microwave for 40 seconds to melt? How's that flour going, Benny? Almost done, Mrs. Marin. Just a little bit left in the sifter, said Benny. Excellent. When you're done, measure out 3/4 of a cup of sugar and add it to the flour and mix them together. Beep, beep, beep. Here you go. The butter is melted, said Sofie as she carefully carried the melted butter back to the bench where they were working. Excellent. Set the butter down here so it can cool, and please measure out 3/4 of a cup of milk in the measuring jug, said her mum. Benny, once you're done mixing the flour and the sugar, make a well in the centre. All done, Mrs. Marin. Great. Now we take our wet ingredients and add them to the dry ingredients and mix them together gently. Benny, grab the wooden spoon. Sofie, pour in the milk and the butter and lastly the eggs. I will add the vanilla to give our cupcakes a little flavour. And Benny, you stir. This is so much fun. Look at how the flour and sugar disappear into the milk, said Benny. Yes, keep stirring until it all disappears. Sofie, why don't you line the cupcake tray with patty cases? Yes, Mum. Make sure you put some green cases, please, Sofie, said Benny. Sure, Benny. I think I'll put some of each colour so we have lots to choose from for our designs. Good idea, Sofie. Benny, how is that mixture coming along? Nearly done, said Benny, giving the mixture one last stir before presenting it to Mrs. Marin. That looks perfect. Thank you, Benny. You've done a great job. Now we just need to spoon the mixture into the patty pans. Benny, you start. Just fill them so they're about 3/4 full, and then Sofie can do the second half. Good job. Now I will pop them into the oven. We will check them in 12 minutes to see how they're going. We should tidy up a bit while we wait. Clear up the bench so you can have a nice space to decorate the cupcakes later, said Sofie's mum as she carefully positioned the cupcakes onto the centre shelf into the oven. Look at that, Benny. Our cakes look great now that they're cooked and cooling down, exclaimed Sofie. Yeah, they sure do. I can't wait to start decorating them. Me too. Mum says we have to wait until they are cool, otherwise the icing will melt. Let's go outside to the backyard while we wait. I can show you the pond and maybe we'll see the frog who lives there. That sounds great. Croak. I think I can hear the frog, Sofie, shouted Benny excitedly. Well, you'll scare it away if you keep shouting like that, answered Sofie. Oops, sorry. I just got a bit excited, said Benny in almost a whisper. Croak. Meow. Oh, hello, Missy. You decided to come outside. It must be because you heard us talking about the frog. I know he's your friend and you like to visit him. Croak. Meow. Can you see it, Benny? The frog is sitting by the edge of the pond next to that patch of grass. Croak. Yes, I see it. Benny, Sofie, it's time to decorate the cupcakes, called out Mrs. Marin from the back porch a little while later. They rushed back to the house and into the kitchen. On the bench they found several small bowls with different coloured icing already waiting for them. Thanks for getting the icing ready, Mum. Look at all the colours, green, pink, yellow, blue and purple, said Betty, finishing the sentence for Sofie. I'm just going to get my secret ingredients. Sofie and Benny spent the next hour decorating their cupcakes, and when they were finally finished, they arranged them nicely on separate trays, ready for the judging to begin. What do we have here, Benny? Asked Mr. Marin. Are those wickets? Oh, and a cricket bat and ball on the green icing? Oh, yes, that's very clever. And this one, with the yellow and blue icing, it looks like the beach. Yes, the sand and the sea, and a little umbrella there, he said, pointing. These are very good. Sofie, let's see what we have here. This is looking very familiar. Is it supposed to be a cat? Oh my, not just any cat, it looks like Missy. And what's this? Is that Missy's froggy friend from the pond in the backyard? These are very good too. You know, I don't think I can choose between them, said Mr. Marin, shaking his head. I'm going to have to declare a draw. You are both winners.
If you would like a free Sneaky Universe colouring and activity book, visit www.sneakyuniverse.com/Sneaky Stories Podcast. Sneaky Stories is a Sneaky Universe production. Written, hosted and edited by Pauline Malcoon. The music is by Trailer Works. If you would like more stories, visit www.sneakyuniverse.com.